Hi everybody, so I'm just going to continue where I left off, creating this little witch doll designed by Jess Davies, also known as CraftLover17 on Instagram. So this is what she's going to look like when you're done. The witch hat is already on my channel if you do want to add it on. You could just do a little couple of slip knots just to attach it if you'd like. I'd like to point out before I go into the supplies, in part one there I showed you how to create the body. And I overstuffed it. I added too much stuffing. When I was kind of creating her, I realized that the form was kind of wrong. So right after this intro, I'm going to show you how it should look like, and we're going to take out some stuffing if you're at that part. So she's supposed to have a little shape and a slimming little body at the bottom. Now also within this video, I'm going to show you to create the head, and then we're going to add the eyes. And I overstuffed the head. So the head's like this big. It's a big bobblehead. I am going to show you what it should look like, but just heads up, it should be proportioned with the body. Within the video, I'm going to use the 12mm safety eyes. I am going to show you how to do the eyes with bands. So these are the bands for the eyes. Your option. For this one, you're going to need 10 bands. Sorry, I wrote 8. Neon orange I used for the hair, and the lightest skin color from the Rainbow Loom skin tone package. You're also going to need a bunch of C-clips or stitch markers. And one more thing I didn't show you. With your hook, you want to, with the beads here, just go around and grab the little knot here at the bottom of each one and just kind of loosen it up. So on the purple, if I show you, it's just a little knot right here, just to kind of relieve some of the tension around the front area. So that's about it, and I'm going to continue, and I really do hope you enjoy. In part one, I overstuffed her, so it's very wide. So what I want you to do is, if you did the same as me, I want you to squeeze her legs in half here, and then squeeze the hips and the top part, and remove any of the stuffing that comes out. I found it was too wide, both her legs and her hips, and push it up. Round one of the head, we're going to start off with 8 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm going to be using the bottom part of my loom. I just want you to know that the first couple of rounds you could actually use a different color, let's just say green, because this part will get covered by the hair. Now don't mind my mess of a job, this was just me trying out. So let's just say, like, you could probably go to about round 3, the third one, with using some sort of different color. If you didn't want to use all your skin tone bands, just make note of that. Now you're going to take your first band and wrap it around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. And again, assuming that everybody knows how to do this part, but just quickly to review, you're bringing your first band through, put the other end on your hook, and you're bringing your top band over, kind of like a little slip knot. Make sure you bring it to the side. Go back in for your second band on your hook, and now bring the top 2 loops over. The rest of the bands will be exactly the same. So you're going to go in and you're going to bring 6 more bands through, so you have a total of 8 that you brought through. And you're going to attach your stitch marker to this band that's around your hook and remove off the loom. So you should have 8 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is on your hook. For round 2, what we're going to do is add 2 bands to each chain. 2, 2, 2, 2, all the way around. So you're doing an increase on every chain around. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 16 stitches. So let's go in our first chain and we're going to add 2 bands through one at a time. Back in that same chain for your second stitch. The next chain with 2. Back in. And the next. Just repeat until you get to the stitch marker. I keep dropping my stitches. My hands are a little bit cold. And the last one with 2. You should have 16 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band around your hook. For round 3, we're going to increase on every fourth stitch. So the pattern is 3 single crochets followed by an increase. 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat that 4 times. At the end of round 3, you're going to have 20 stitches. So let's go in our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and add 1 band. 1 band in the next, and 1 band in the next. I just did 3 single crochets. Now my 4th chain, I'm adding 2 bands, 1 at a time. Now let's repeat. 1, 1, 1. 2. Back in that same chain and repeat. Back in. And one more time. So you should have 20 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band around your hook. For round 4, we're going to increase on every 5th stitch. So the pattern is going to be 4 single crochets followed by an increase. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2. You're going to repeat this pattern 4 times. And at the end of round 4, you're going to have 24 stitches. So let's go in our first chain, not where it's getting pulled. Our second chain with 1. Our third chain with 1. Our fourth chain with 1. And our 5th chain is our increase, so we're adding 2 bands, 1 at a time. So back in and repeat all the way till you get to your stitch marker, so just follow the pattern. in, and 2 more times. I skipped a stitch. Back in, and 1 more time. This is the last stitch. Back in. Try it again. Remove your stitch marker. You should have 24 stitches, and add this marker to your band that's around your hook. For rounds 5 to rounds 10, you're just doing 24 single crochets. So adding 1 band around, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. I'm going to do round 5 with you, and then you're going to pause the video and come back to me when you've done round 10. Now each pile I have 24 bands, so at the end of each round you should have 24 stitches. So let's go on our first chain, not where it's getting pulled, and bring 1 band through. The next chain with 1, and so on until you get to your stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker, or you could add another one so you can keep track of your rounds. And then you want to pause the video and come back to me when you've completed all the rounds. For round 11, this is what you should have so far. And the pattern is 4 single crochets followed by an invisible decrease. So I'm adding my extra band. Again, 4 single crochets, 1 band in the first 4 chains, and then 5 and 6 together. Invisible decrease requires an extra band. So I'm going to go in the first 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, and 4, with 1 band. Not where it's getting pulled. The next. The next. And this is the 4th. Now you're going to stitch these 2 together by doing a slip stitch in each and leave it on your hook. So bring your band through, on your hook, and slide to create that slip stitch and leave it. The next chain, slip stitch, and leave it so you have the 3 loops. And slide. So just so you know, at the end of round 11, you're going to have 20 stitches. So let's repeat this again. 4 single crochets followed by your decrease. decrease, slip stitch, slip stitch, and slide. Again, just continue the pattern until you get to your stitch marker. So again, you should have 20 stitches. You want to remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 12, we're going to decrease again, and the pattern is 3 single crochets followed by your invisible decrease. So 1, 1, 1, and 4 and 5 together. You're repeating this pattern 4 times. At the end of round 12, you're going to have 16 stitches. So let's go in our first 3 chains with 1 band in each. Now do 2 slip stitches in the next 2 chains. And leave it on your hook, and then you have 3 loops and slide. And repeat. Your decrease here, slip stitch. And slide. And just repeat 2 more times. Oops. And slide. Remove your stitch marker and add it to the band that's around your hook. For round 13, we're going to do 16 single crochets. So I have 5, 10, 15, and 16. So just adding 1 band to each chain, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. At the end of this round, you should still have 16 stitches. So the first chain, second, all the way till you get to your stitch marker. You should have the 16 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add it to your band around the hook. Round 14, this is our last round, and we're going to decrease all the way around. So I'm going to do 8 invisible decreases, so this requires an extra band for each stitch. So you're stitching the 2 stitches together all the way around. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So we're going to grab the first 2 chains and we're going to do slip stitches in each. Leave it on your hook, go to the next, slip stitch, and slide. And again, slip stitch, the next, and 3 loops and slide. Do this until you get to your stitch marker, remembering that your last band, you're doing a slip knot to tie it closed. And this is our last decrease, our last band. So you want to bring this one through all of the loops. You're still doing that decrease, but you're closing it off. And remove your stitch marker. And this is what you should have. Round 1 of the hair, we're going to do 7 single crochets in the magic ring. So I'm using the bottom part of my loom and wrapping my first band around the bottom peg 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Now you want to pull your 7 bands through one at a time. So you're first on your hook, top loop over, and bring it to the side. Back in, second band, 2 loops over, and bring it to the side. And just continue, so you pull a total of 7 bands through that cap band. And you want to attach your stitch marker to this band that's around your hook and remove off the loom. And you should have 7 stitches to start with. For round 2 of the hair, the top part of our head, we're going to add 2 bands to each chain. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. At the end of round 2, you're going to have 14 stitches. So we're doing an increase on each chain around. Your first chain, you're adding 2 bands one at a time. Back in. Your next chain with 2. Back in. And the next chain with 2, all the way until you get to the stitch marker. Back in, and I'm at the stitch marker. I'm jumping ahead here. I'm at the stitch marker, so you're adding the 2 bands. So you should have your 14 stitches. Remove your stitch marker. For round 3, we're going to increase now on every second stitch. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all the way around. You're going to repeat this 7 times. At the end of round 3, you're going to have 21 stitches. So our first chain, which is a single crochet. Our second chain, we're adding the 2 bands. So this is our increase. Back in. and repeat 1, 2. And just continue this pattern until you get to the stitch marker. You should have your 21 stitches. Remove your stitch marker and add. Now for round 4, we're going to increase on every third stitch. So it's 2 single crochets followed by an increase. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, repeating this 7 times. At the end of round 4, you're going to have 28 stitches. So I'm going to go on the first 2 chains with 1 band. That was 1 single crochet, the next, and my third chain with 2 bands. And repeat 1, 1, 2. And repeat 1, 1, 2. Continue this pattern until you get to the stitch marker. "28 stitches, remove your stitch marker. For round 5, we're going to do 28 single crochets around. So I have 10, 20, and 8. When we're done this round, this is the last round to the circle part. We're not going to do a slip knot. We're going to remove our stitch marker and add it to the band that's around our hook. So I just want you to go around adding 1 band, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, all the way around. Now remove your stitch marker. You should still have the 28 stitches, and you want to add it to the band that's around your hook. And we're going to keep this on our hook, and we're going to stuff the head now. Now when you're stuffing this head, we want to keep the same shape. We don't want to overstuff it, and I say that all the time, but I love to overstuff. I love to add more than you really should. So I'm just moving the stuffing with my finger to one side, and then I know that I need a little bit more. And I'm also going to fix the tension here. That's from my C-clip. I have stitch markers. I still always go to the C-clips. Now we're going to attach the top part of the hair to the head, and I'm just going to do the bangs area first. So I'm going to do 8 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And that will be like this. For each stitch, I'm going to use 2 bands, and I'm going to show you where to place them. Now, in order to help you out to keep this in place, try using a toothpick, and you want to go through the magic circle on the hair and right through the magic circle on the head. So this will just help to keep this in place. Now for each 8 of these chains, I'm going to be grabbing the chains on the head first and then the chain on the hair. So you want to grab the nice little chain that you have on your face, not these little chains here. These little 1 and 2, you want to grab the beautiful chain that's right underneath each of these chains. Now make sure you're picking a nice front part of the face. Don't try to pick the back where all those openings are if you had it like me. So you want to put it flat, and you want to grab a chain on the head, or sorry, on the face here, and then the chain on the hair. Try not to grab the stuffing, and then go through the chain on the hair. You're going to bring your first band through all of these loops and do a slip stitch. Now you're going to go back and just grab those 2 little chains that you just have here, these 2 little pieces, just like that. So you have 3 loops on your hook. And you're going to bring your second band through all 3 of those loops to do another slip stitch. And we're going to do this 8 more times. So try grabbing the chain that's closest to the chain from the hair. Bring your band through all of these loops. And grab the end and slide. Those 2 little loops that you have on the top, you want to grab them with your hook. So you have 3 loops on your hook now. Bring your second band through all 3 of those loops. Grab the end and slide. Now you're grabbing the chains on the head 1 over. So I went through the head and the hair and bringing a band through all of these loops. Grab the end and slide. Grab that little chain that's the same band. So you have 3 loops, and bring your next band through all 3 loops. Grab the end and slide. Face, chains on the hair, band through all loops. Grab your end and slip stitch, grabbing the 2 chains from the exact same band. Bring your second band through all 3 of those loops and slide. Face, hair, first band through all the loops. Grab the end and slide. Grab that chain, that same band, and bring your second band through all the loops. face, hair, band through all the loops, grab your end and slide. Go above, grab that chain, which is the same band, bring your second band through all 3 loops. Do this 2 more times. Bring it through all the loops, on your hook and slide, go to the chain above, band through, on your hook and slide, and the bangs are done. Now to continue with round 6, I'm going to do 20 single crochets, but I'm going to be using 21 bands. When we're doing reverse stitches back and forth, we don't count the band that's on our hook. So this one, the math doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand. So let's just go with it. I'm all about math and trying to figure it out, but I don't get it. But it does make sense. So what I'm going to ask you first is to add a stitch marker to this chain where you ended. So we ended here, and I want you to attach a stitch marker. Now, from round 6 to round 15, we're going to be grabbing a chain on the face when we start and a chain on the face when we end. In the meantime, we're just going to be crocheting this headpiece. We're not going to be attaching it. So let's start. What we're going to do is we want to grab the next chain below on the face where we grabbed on top, because that, and we're going to go in the same chain where we ended. And I'm going to bring my band through both of my chains and on my hook and slide. Now to the next chain over, just grabbing the hairpiece, and you're going to crochet all the way until you get to your other stitch marker. But when you get here, you need to grab a chain on the face. So let's go. So this is the last one where you can see right where my stitch marker ended, but I want to grab a stitch on the face. So I want you to put it flat and put your hook sideways, and that's where you want to grab. And bring your stitch, so your band through both of those chains and on your hook and slide. Now I'm going to attach a stitch marker to this band, but in 1 second. What I want you to do is, let me show you my really bad example. Never mind any of this. You can see that when I started to grab, I kind of went like this. We want to make sure that we're straight down. So you don't want to be pulling how I did here. You want to be really careful. So now attach a stitch marker to this band where you ended, and it's on your hook. And from now on, we're not going to be counting the band on our hook. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Now for round 7, I'm going to use 20 bands and we're going to end up with 19 stitches. If you do count the band that's on your hook, you will have 20 stitches. When we start and we end, I'm going to be grabbing a chain on the face and not on the hair. This is going to be the exact same thing all the way until chains 15. So when you start, you want to put your hair flat down. You may want to push your toothpick down so it doesn't poke you. And you want to just grab the nice little chain that's right underneath or right beside the hair. Now when you do this, make sure it's flat because you don't want to start going towards the face. You want to just start going directly down. So right underneath the chain, go through and bring your first band through. Both of those chains and on your hook and slide. Now continue going around just grabbing the hair piece. When you get to the end, you're going to be grabbing the chain on the face. Now you should be directly below the stitch of the stitch marker. So this is your last band and you want to put it flat. You're starting to have like kind of like a straight line down here. You're going to see this. You want to put your hook and grab the stitch that's directly underneath this chain and go through the head and the hair. Bring your band through both of those chains on your hook and slide and attach a stitch marker. Round 8 is the same thing as round 7. I'm going to do 20 single crochets and you're going to end with 19 stitches, 20 if you're counting the one on your hook. When you start and when you end, you're grabbing a chain on the face. When you end, you're going to add a stitch marker. So I want you to put it flat and you're going to grab the chain that's directly below your chain here. So you're going to grab the chain on the face. So just try to put it flat and grab the chain on the face and the chain on the hair. Bring your band through both of those chains and on your hook and slide. Now continue going around until you get to the last one, which is where your stitch marker is. Not grabbing any of the chains on the face. And the last one, put it flat and grab the chain. You want to grab a nice little chain and then a chain where your stitch marker is, and you want to find both ends of your stitch marker here. Bring your band through both chains and on your hook and slide. Attach a stitch marker. And what you want to do now is you want to keep checking to make sure that you're not pulling, and like when you grab these chains on the face, you want to have it nice and even with the other one. So as I've mentioned before, all the way to 15, it's the exact same thing. So you're using 20 bands on each row, and you're just repeating. Your first stitch will go where you started, or sorry, where your band is coming out of, and you will end where your stitch marker is, and you'll be grabbing a stitch on the face when you start and a stitch on the face when you end. So don't forget those 2 stitches. I'm going to come in between back a couple of rounds and just show you what it's looking like. So maybe every 2 rounds. It's the exact same thing, so I don't think that I have to go through each one. So when you end, you want to make sure that you're using a stitch marker. Now I'm going to put it flat. You can take this thing out if you want to. I'm just going to leave it in, because why not? Now where your stitch is when you start, you want to grab the chain on the face and go through the chain on the hair. And bring your first band through both chains on your hook and slide. And then just going around. So we're doing a reverse stitch all the way until you get to your stitch marker. That last stitch, remember to grab a stitch on the face. Remember, always keep an eye on the front of the face so that the sides of the hair are nice and even. If I didn't say already, each pile has 20 bands in it. If I counted properly. If I counted my piles properly. Okay, so last band, put it flat, and you want to grab the stitch on the face, the chain on the hair where your stitch marker is, bring your last band through both chains on your hook, slide, and attach your stitch marker. Turn it around, make sure it's nice and even and it's not getting pulled. Now you can pause the video, continue and come back to me when you're done, and I'm going to come back on every other round. So I've done round 10 and it's even, and I've caught the stitch on the face and the stitch on the face. And I'm going to do round 11 with you, so I'm going to go in the same stitch, just in case for those who are not sure. When you start, through the same chain where your band was coming out of, and grab the stitch on the face and the stitch on the hair, and then just reverse. You can see I added a stitch marker to that band when I ended round 10. And you're just going to your stitch marker, last band, catch this chain on the face. I know I keep repeating the exact same thing, but some may find that helpful, others a little annoying. So I'll try to just continue. Put it flat, grab the chain, your last chain where your stitch marker is, you want to figure out the two little stitches, grab your band, grab the other end of this band, and slide and attach your stitch marker, and make sure you're grabbing the chain on the face, and you can continue with round 12. I'm at round 13, and this is what it should look like. Now, if you don't need help, you can just continue, fast forward the video, but I'm going to do round 13 with you. So I'm just going to put it flat, grab the chain on the face, and start with round 13. Oh, I did count. I thought I didn't count enough bands. And the last, put it flat. Add your stitch marker. And this is what it looks like so far. Now, I don't think I need to come back, so you can do rounds 14 and 15, and when you're done, then come back to me. So please pause the video. Now what we're going to do is we want to secure our last stitch. So after you've completed round 15, this is what it should look like. Or, something similar. I want you to secure this, so just attach it onto another piece here so it doesn't fall apart. And we're going to remove the stuffing so we can add the eyes. I should remove the toothpick first. Again, I'm using the 12mm safety eyes, or if you don't have the safety eyes, You know, you can add the eyes however you'd like to do it. I'm going to show you how I originally did it like this. And I just found if you tie the eyes on after a little ball, it's something a little bit different. Let's just do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 blue bands for one eye and a black band. So what I'm going to do is attach 2 blue eyes. So I'm sorry, 2 blue bands first, and you're just going to find your placement. What I'm going to do is bring the 2 bands through one end. I'm going to skip a hole and go to the next and grab the other 2 and then tie it off. You're probably going to use 4 skin tone bands, or if you want to use white, something not bright because you'll see it on the other end. You'll see it through the face. And then just fix. Fix the tension. Now you're going to go back through those 2 holes. Let's just make this slip knot towards the back. Go through. If you're not doing with bands, you can just go ahead, add your safety eyes, and then add your stuffing back. So you can go through the one hole where you started, bring a black band through, the hole that you ended, bring your black band through, and then tie this off. Now you have 2 ends of the black. You want to bring one to the other side and fix the tension. Again, fix the tension. Now I added an eyelash. So this is where you're going to need a single black band and grab the top black. You might want to grab it from the top of the head down, hoping that the eyelash curls towards the top. Give it a pull. You're going to have to fix it again. And then just play around with the tension again. But you've got my point. And then you can cut the band here to make it like the eyelash. Don't cut it too short. You want to cut it about here. So this is where I'm going to add my safety eyes. I just found a proper or a placement that I prefer. And I'm just going to put the backings on the back. And then you can just add some stuffing. So my placement is probably not going to be the same as yours. So I'm not even going to show you exactly where I went. Just find the hole, make sure it's straight, try your best, and add your stuffing back. Next, we're going to attach the head to the body. I think we should do that next and then continue with the rest of her hair. That might be a little bit too much stuffing for the size of her body, so I'm going to remove some. And that looks about right. Maybe even a little bit more. So the bottom, the last 2 rounds that we did on the face, you might want to have them there. That looks proportioned. We want to have those 2 last rounds flat. So if you even look at the arms, you want to make sure that it has, the head is not too big for the body. Now to sew on the head to the body, we have to decrease on the body at the same time as we're putting on the head. I'm going to use 8 bands, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and do 8 stitches. First, we're going to find the center back of the body, so here's the front and here's the back, and fold it. You might want to hide this slip knot first, so I'm just going to go through the stitch right below, grab this band and bring it through so it's not in my way. Now, fold it in half and find your stitch that's going sideways. There's your center back. We have 8 more stitches on the body than we do on the head. So this is bigger. So what you're going to do is take your next stitch. You want to go from the outside toward the inside. So you have 2 stitches. Now find your center back on the head, fold it in half, find your eyes, find the center, fold it in half, and grab the stitch. One of the chains at the back of the head here. You want to go from the outside inside. From the outside inside. And bring your band through. You have to go through, be careful, and grab the other end and slide. Now you're going to stitch these 2 together, so go in your next stitch, come to the outside, go inside, and grab your next stitch on the head, grab your band, slide through the head, slide through 1 stitch, slide through the next stitch, on your hook, and slide. And you're just repeating 1 stitch, 2 stitch, head, next stitch over. Grab your band, bring it through, and slide. So you have to decrease on each. 1, 2, outside, inside of the head, band, make sure at this point that the head is center. So we want to go stitch the next 2 together, 1 and 2, next chain on the head, and bring your band through. One and 2, and chain on the head, band, you want to decrease, and the last 2 stitches you're going to decrease. Now you want to, this band, you want to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So go through 1, go through the other. This is the last stitch on the body. You've already used that one, and the last stitch on the head. So bring your band through all of the stitches and do a slip knot. Now you can move all the stuffing around, use your hook, move it all around. If you need at any point in time to add some more stuffing to the body, you can do that after by just going like this. So I might actually do that just to add a little bit more stuffing. You're just going to put it on top of a hole, and with a pencil just push it through. It'll automatically just kind of go in that same hole. And then you can move it around. You can even take some from the head by moving your hook down. And if you have to still remove some of the stuffing out of the head, just take your hook and just pull. And then you can just push in the stuffing. To fix her around. Now for round 16, before I get started, I just want to explain something to you. All my stitch markers are off because I had made a mistake from round 16 to round 19, so I had to take it all apart and I was done. So I really want you to do it the way Jess did it, so I had to take it all apart, and that's why I don't have my stitch markers. But you should have ended here, so I'm going to try this again. For round 16, what I'm going to do is 5 single crochets followed by an increase. 5. Then 2 bands in your 6th chain. Then you're going to do 7 single crochets followed by an increase. Then 5 single crochets. So in order to do this, what we're going to do is skip the first stitch where our band is coming out of. And now I'm just going to grab the outside loops only from round 16 to round 19. And each round is going to be different. So on each stitch, you're just grabbing the outside loops only. So I'm going to skip here and I'm going to go to the next one. So now I'm going to do 5 single crochets, just grabbing the outside loops only. And I am going to end at the last stitch. Outside only, all the way to the end. This is my increase, so I'm adding the 2 bands here. And now 7 single crochets. Let me move it up. Back in. And now 5 to go. So we're going to remove our stitch marker and add it to the band that's around our hook. For round 17, you're going to do 21 single crochets. So I have 10, 20, and 1. You're going to start where your band is coming out of, and you're going to end right at the end where your stitch marker is. You're going to be grabbing the outside loops only on each one, not going through the whole chain, just the outside. This round is going to be really easy to skip stitches. So you want to make sure right now that you get the 21 bands and you use 21 bands. I'm telling you, it's really easy to miss it. So go where your band is coming out of, grab the outside loop only, and do a single crochet. See right here, you can almost skip that stitch, so try not to. Open it up and look out for it. And go all the way to the end. I just want to make sure I have 5 bands left, so I want 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I didn't skip any. And attach a stitch marker to this band that's around your hook. For round 18, this is the pattern. 6 single crochets followed by an increase. Then 7 single crochets followed by an increase, adding 2 bands in that one chain. Then you're going to add 1 band in the last 6 chains. So again, 6 single crochets followed by an increase, 7 single crochets followed by an increase, and 6 single crochets. In order to do this, we are going to start where our band is coming out of, grabbing the outside loops only on each chain all the way. And you're going to end where your stitch marker is. So go ahead and do 6 single crochets, grabbing the outside loop only. Make sure you open it up so you can see your stitches, so you don't skip any. That was my increase. So now I'm going to do 7 single crochets. And my increase, adding 2 bands to that back loop. And now 6 single crochets. Let's see if this moves up anymore. Open it up so you can find your actual chain and your back loop. So remove your stitch, or you can remove your stitch marker or add another one to this band that's around your hook. So round 19, we're going to do 23 single crochets. We're going to start where our band is coming out of, grabbing the outside loop only. This is our last round. And we're going to end where our stitch marker is, right at the end, our last chain. You're using 23 bands. So 10, 20, and 3. Your last band, you're going to do a slip knot to tie it closed. So let's get started where our band is coming from. Grab the outside loop only. And then just continue to the end. Opening up your chain so you don't skip any. And your last band, you're going to pull it through all of the loops and slide. Now you can hide your little slip knot by going through the little chains that you have here. So you can go through a couple. And you can bring it through some of these little chains here, just maybe one more stitch here, just to hide it. And then you can remove all your stitch markers everywhere. And the hair is done. Now we're going to add on the arms, our last part, and you want to find where you'd like to add them. So I'm going to be placing them here. So I'm going to be turning her around to the side, and I'm going to find 3 stitches on the body and use a single band to tie it off. So I have 3 sewing bands. I need to bring them through 3 stitches. So I'm going to go right at the top here. The next, bring my bands through and slide. And the next. And slide, turn her around and grab one of the sewing bands that's on the arm at the end and bring my band through to secure it. Check the placement, make sure it's okay, and find where you'd like to attach the other. So to do the same thing, find 3 stitches on the body, bring your sewing band through, go to the stitch right beside it on the body, bring your middle sewing band through, and slide. The next stitch over, body, sewing band through, and slide. Turn her around, find the sewing band that's on the arm, grab the stitches, and bring your band through. And just make sure that you like the placements first on the arms, and then you can hide the sewing bands by going through the arms or through the body, wherever you'd like to go through. And she's done. If you'd like, you could add a mouth. It's up to you. And just go through 2 of the stitches, bring a band through. I'm going to get a different color shade. This band was just in front. And you're going to take a white band or a skin tone band and tie it off. And then just turn it around. And then you can hide the slip knot inside.